Hello students, welcome back, and today we are going to learn about the bone, and this chapter is about skeleton. So basically for this chapter, it is a chapter that I don't like that much because you need to memorize, because in this chapter, the question that the exam asks is very straightforward. Usually the question in exam, they will draw a picture and then they will ask you to label it and tell the function. So it is more about memorization. So eventually you need to memorize this: pectoral bone, pelvic grid, pectoral grid, sternum. You just need to memorize, and there's no shortcut way. But I believe that there are some bone that are more common than asked in exam. For example, like sternum, I believe is more common than asked in exam. Sternum means the bone that is in the center at the between the ribs. When you do CPR, you want to press your sternum. You know CPR. CPR is the that you do for the resuscitation for a person that did not breathe, no pulse, no breathing. We want to do CPR, so we want to press the sternum. So you can touch in your body, and there is a bone at here, and you want to press at here. If you press at here, then sometimes people don't know they press at here. So not only it is, it's dangerous, so you don't press there, because if you press, you need to press hard when you do CPR, and you might injure the person, because when you are pressing here, there is no bone, and if you feel by yourself and you press here, actually you feel pain also. Here actually no pain, you can ask your friend to press for you, but if you press down here, you feel pain and you might injure the person. So this is something that you need to know. If you haven't practiced CPR, in case there's accident, I do not recommend students do CPR, because you, instead of helping the person, you might cause injury. So you need to join the Coco group or what, and you need to practice. After you practice, you will have the cert. Okay, the cert St. John or the Bulan Sabit Merah, they will give you a cert. And in case accident, you help the person and the person got problem, let's say die lah, but you got the cert will protect you from saying that you do not have training. But if you help the person, but somehow the person die, and then the person sue you back, say because of you the person die, and then you have nothing to protect yourself. You don't have cert, you don't have nothing, because you press here, the person die. So you need to be careful lah. When you help people also, you need to be careful. You don't help him, maybe he die, but you help him. If he die, then the family member might come and look after you. You need to be careful of the thing that we do. Pandai lah, when you see accident, that time you see what you want to do. And see, if you still remember that chapter, the first thing to do is of course ask people to call the ambulance, check the symptom, see what is the condition, the environment, the person medicine, his shirt got medicine or not, and so on. Okay, the function of endoskeleton. So we already learned from the previous video about exoskeleton. Exo means is outside, skeleton. Now it's endoskeleton, which are the inside. Vertebrates means the bone got backbone. Okay, so you can see that here is the backbone, vertebrates. Okay, and let's see, for example, here's the backbone, vertebrates, and maybe I would say here will be the backbone of the animal. So we are consider this as a vertebrates. And if you remember in science, we already learned animal is categorized into vertebrates, invertebrate. Vertebrate means got bone, and invertebrate means don't have bone like snail, worm. And then for the vertebrate is divided into three: exoskeleton, endoskeleton, and for endoskeleton it is further divided into terrestrial vertebrate, aquatic vertebrate, and bird. So there are three. So you really learn like invertebrate, vertebrate, and then for vertebrate is divided into three. T is for terrestrial, A for aquatic, and B for the bird. Okay, of course for vertebrate, if you still remember last time we learned that vertebrate is divided into mammal, reptile, amphibian, bird, and one more is what? And one more is fish. Okay, so we have fish. So it depends, but for the bone part, it is divided into terrestrial on the land, in the water, and on the air for the bird. So there are many ways we can categorize the animal, but we are not going to learn that. But if you still remember, we can categorize according to bone, we can categorize according to blood, we can categorize according to maybe the legs and so on, which we already learned previously about the characteristic of animal. So three types of vertebrates. Terrestrial vertebrate means we are talking about land. Can you give me example of terrestrial vertebrate? Bird, some more? The terrestrial vertebrate. Hey, bird is not terrestrial vertebrate. No, it's not bird. Terrestrial vertebrate on the land. What's the example of terrestrial vertebrate? Okay, so maybe we can say elephant, we say dog, we say cat, we say anything on the land. Okay, giraffe, wolf, and so on. Anything that is on the land, we call it terrestrial vertebrate. Elephant and so on. So for this animal that live on the land, the animal have big frame skeleton. You can see our bone. Human also is terrestrial. The bone is bigger and stronger. You can see our shoulder, the muscle is on our shoulder, and some more the head also is very strong. Here also is very strong. Okay, so this is called terrestrial vertebrate. We need to have a very strong bone because we need to fight with the gravity, because we need to stand, we need to walk, we need to eat, so the bone must be stronger. For the birds, then I would say the birds no need that strong, because the bird main focus is to fly. So if the bird want to fly, the bird need to be light. So the main thing for the bone is light. Okay, so for the land, I would say that the most important thing for the bone is strong. And for the bird, the air, it must be light. The bone must be light. And for the fish, I would say the fish bone is not strong, not that strong. You can see a fish, if you eat the fish, you don't see the bone very big, the bone very thin on it. And if you eat whatever fish you eat lah, stingray or ikan pari-pari, ikan kampung, if you compare the fish and the bone, you can see that actually the size of the bone percentage, maybe for the fish the bone percentage is, let's say lah, I say 10%. of the size of everything, but for the animal on the land, maybe I would say it's around 20%. 20% or 30%. I mean the human bone, if you want to compare, or the cheetah bone, elephant bone, the size, if you want to compare with the animal like fish, it will be 20-30% bigger. How about whale? Then you say that the whale also very big. The whale, you know the whale. Whale is the biggest animal, the fish. Let's say this is the blue whale. I don't know how to draw the blue whale lah, something like that. Okay. Then you say no, the whale bone is also very big. Yeah, if you see the whale, the bone is very big, but the bone is, if you compare to the size, the bone is very small. If you see from the outside of the fish, you don't see the bone, but from the land animal you can see the bone, because you can see my shoulder, you can see my finger, also you can start to see my bone, you can see my head, my nose and the eye, the forehead. The bone is quite clear, visible, and there is a certain shape that people can see. But for the fish, you can see that the bone is inside, and you don't really able to see the bone. Why land bone is stronger than the bone in aquatic? Why? Yes, okay, so we can say that for the animal on the land, the bone is stronger, the aquatic is weaker, because in the water there is a buoyancy force. That's very correct. Buoyancy force. Okay, so there is a buoyancy force in the water. Means let's say this is a human. He is 50 kg in science, if you learn, but when he go into the water, the person become 25 kg, correct or not? But let's say you are very heavy. Let's say the person is very heavy, and indeed you are the person is very heavy. But when he go to the water, I put the scale and weight the person is 25 kg. Because there is an upthrust by the buoyancy force. Let's say you put the person in water, there is a buoyancy force, so the weight become lighter. So because the weight is lighter, you don't need that the bone to be so strong, because your body is lighter already. If you are on the land, there is a almost full force of gravity on you. There is almost no buoyancy force. Of course, there are slight buoyancy force. The slight buoyancy force is the air, 那个风, but very little lah. Got air and no air. Because the density of air is very less. The density of water is a lot. So eventually your weight will be lesser if you measure on the sea water, for example, the water. So there is a buoyancy force. So let's say the fish, that's why the whale, when it washed to the shore, let's say this is the water, this is the pantai, the beach, and then suddenly the whale go up. You need to faster push the whale go down, because actually the whale can breathe, because the whale is a mammal, he uses oxygen, but the bone will break. As long as the whale, it go on the land, because there's no water, so there will be a full force gravity of the fish on the whale. So eventually the ribs will collapse, the bone will break, then the fish will die. So that's why you see in the beach, of course Malaysia don't have whale lah, but if you see the Western people, if the whale come up on the beach, maybe accident or what, I don't know why they swim until so near the beach, accident happen, and then suddenly the wave come, it go up. So you need to push it down lah. If you don't push it down, probably the ribs will collapse, the bone will start to break due to the gravity, and the whale will die. So I would say the whale die not because of no oxygen. The whale die because the bone start to break, and maybe the organ, the lung start to collapse. Your lung also can collapse, you know. Collapse means 跌下去 your organ, then you cannot breathe. That's why we have one of the function of our bone is the rib, because our rib hold the bone, hold the lung. So when you breathe, the bone, so it's like a spring. The rib act like a spring to help us breathe. So if your rib already broken, patah, then you don't have the spring to accident, and then you break your rib, let's say. How you want to breathe? The rib cannot go up and down because the rib already broken. So the person cannot breathe, and then the person die. Okay, because accident injured the rib, internal bleeding, and maybe probably it lose the support of the breathing system for the rib, and the person died. So the backbone of all terrestrial animal usually curve up or down. So probably either you go up curve up, or curve up and down. Maybe a horse is like this. Okay, curve up and down, so that it will give a stronger body force. Correct or not? Let's say you don't want to make it straight. The bone you don't want to make it straight. Of course, for the elephant is also a bit straight, but we can see that there is a slight curve like this, so that the bone will be stronger. You can make it straight like rectangle, the bone, but if you got learn maths, this one not strong. That is why people do the bridge. How people make the bridge? People make the bridge like this. Correct or not? You need to curve the bridge, and the bridge will be stronger. Or maybe you want to curve the bridge like this. You want to curve at the bottom. Also can. Because if you make curve, the bridge will be stronger. How about Penang Bridge? Penang Bridge is like this. Ho 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 ho. So we also can see there is a slight curve at here, so that it will hold the bridge. If you don't want, then you need to make the bridge like straight, but it won't be strong. Okay, it won't be strong. But of course, the small bridge can. If you talk about a very big bridge, then it cannot. How you want to make a bridge that is long, but you don't want to make it curve? Almost impossible. Okay, so for this, you can see that the bone is curved, so that it will withstand the gravitational force. You need to what you need to also understand is you need to memorize. Okay, this is the pectoral girdle, this is the pelvic. So this you need to know pelvic. Pelvic means you're down here. You injure the pelvic or the pectoral girdle, usually the the shoulder part here, your shoulder, also very big. So these two bone is the one of the, if I'm not mistaken, pelvic is the biggest bone in human body. Means which one is the biggest bone? It's not your head, it's not your rib, it's not your hand, it's your pelvis. 你的屁股那个骨头是 one of the biggest and very strong bone. Okay, let's look at the aquatic animal. We can see that the aquatic animal is private girdle is small and weak. You can see or not? Smaller. Oh my goodness, this one pelvic is really small. The human one is so big, but we can see that the whale is very small and weak. even though they have large, this one you need to know. Let's say the question asks why, because there are a buoyancy force. This one you need to know. Let's say the question asks why aquatic animal bone is smaller and bigger. Your answer will be because there are buoyancy force. The buoyancy force will push the whale go up. So let's say the whale is 4 ton, 4,000 kg, let's say. But when he go to the water, when he go into the water, the whale only weight 2,000 kg. If you got learn physics, okay. So of course, if you go under the water, the buoyancy force push up 2,000. This one is physics lah. If you got take physics, but since you're taking science, you're not taking physics. So 4,000 minus the 2,000 buoyancy force, there is only 2,000 buoyancy force go downward. So the whale will be lighter. Of course, human there will be buoyancy force, but human, when you put in the water, it cannot go down. It cannot go down. You only always stand on here, and then the person will the water, and then eventually he die. After he die, then he will go down. Okay, because the person lung got air, our lung got air, so it's very difficult for us to go into the water, because when you go in the water, your head got oxygen, so it will push up. But if the person die, he swim, then he need to breathe. He cannot breathe, he must eat the water and drink the water. So he need to breathe, the water go into the lung, go into the lung. So the person will become very heavy. After become very big and full of water, the person will submerge into the water. So that is why when you go to swim, you feel very hard to go down the water. But you also cannot go up because the water is at here. Usually if you stand in the water, your water is at here. So not up, not down. So the person cannot breathe also. Unless you sleep. That's why if you want to learn to swim, like sleeping, your head need to go up a bit. Your head go up like that. Then at least the water is on top of your head. So maybe you want to try that. Okay. So this is the aquatic. For bird, the adaptation is flying. You need to adapt it to fly. So we can see the sternum. This is the sternum, which is so much bigger. Let's say the question asks, what is the adaptation of the bird's bone? You need to say it is hollow and light. Light means you know heavy or light. What happened to my pen? What is this? I cannot erase this. That's so weird. Okay, anyway, I cannot erase this. Hollow and light. What do you mean by hollow? Yes, having a hole or empty space inside. So there is a hollow. To make it lighter, 就是一个洞啦。Let's say you take a pipe. Yeah, the pipe inside got hole. Okay, 它是空的里面 empty. You can blow the wind. There's a hole. So it is hollow, so that it is easier, so that it will be lighter. Okay, doesn't mean inside got thing it will be stronger. If you got learn physics, you know that sometimes like a pipe, inside is hole, but also the pipe very strong. I can take the metal pipe and beat the person, and the person also can die because of there is even though it's hollow, it is light. But of course, if you hold the metal, everything is full, then it can say that it is also stronger, but maybe the effect is not that much. The influence of the strength of the material, I mean, both hit the person also will die. Okay, so it is still very strong. Okay, so beside the bird skull is small than other animals. So you can see that the skull is smaller, our skull is bigger and stronger. So that is the adaptation, adaptation of the bird. Adaptation, you need to know this word. Where's the adaptation? Adaptation. How you adapt to the environment. If you know the word adaptation.
Of changing to suit different conditions.
Yeah, so the process of changing, you need to change in order to get used to the environment. That is called adaptation. So how the bird to adapt to the environment or the situation, the bone must be light. So if the bone is light and hollow, then the bird can fly. If you make it strong, heavy, then the bird cannot fly. So the person need to, we use the word adapt to the environment. And we also need to adapt to environment. Like our life, we also need to adapt. Let's say if you stay in Malaysia, the economy no good, then you need to adapt. You need to think of way to get money to survive. Let's say you go to the school give homework a lot, this teacher don't know how to teach, then you need to adapt. Maybe you want to go to tuition, you want to go to YouTube to study, you want to do self-study. Okay, that's called adapt. You cannot say that I sit there and wait. Then the exam I get D, E. Then you say, the teacher don't know how to teach. Didn't teach, the tuition teacher didn't teach. There's no people going to like help you. You need to adapt. Then you find the solution. You find the solution on. So what you want to do? You want to find tuition, you want to go YouTube, you want to study with your friend, you want to what? All this you need to adapt. And when you go to work also the same. The boss don't like you, your peers gossip about you, you need to adapt. If you don't adapt, what happen? I believe that if you don't adapt, the bird will die. Right? No, because if you don't adapt, the bird die lah. There is no adaptation of the bird. Same like when you are the student or you are when you go to work. If you cannot adapt to the environment, I would say very susah lah. You don't adapt to the environment, it will be very susah. Then other people need to help you. Your parent need to help you. Instead of you giving money to your parent, your parent need to help you. So we need to adapt. So when you write in your English essay, then you can say, though the school is new and there are a lot of homework, however, I try my best to adapt to the school environment. Then you can write in your English essay. Okay, little bit more to go. Maybe 5 more minutes to go. Because I scared you are too tired. Okay, so we take a short break and we see you back later. Bye bye.